Hey, welcome back. Thomas here, an aquatics expert with Big Al's, and today I'm going to talk to you about my favorite canister filter. It's one I've actually personally used for 15 years plus. It's the Eheim 2217 canister filter. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to unbox the 2217 and get everything set up and ready for install, and then get the filter running. The reason I've decided to do this is because we've actually had quite a few customers tell us the instructions can be confusing. So rather than having you go through that trouble, I'm going to show you how I do it. So the first thing you're going to do is grab a pair of scissors and cut the retaining band on the box. Next, open the box up. There's like 4 flaps in there. Just open them all up. Right on the top, you're going to have a set of instructions. Then we're going to pull out all the stuff in the side here. We've got 494 double tap connector. You've got your 594 double tap connector. You've got some suction cups. You've got your intake pipe. You've got your output pipe, along with the intake strainer. You've got your spray bar and your 2 sets of tubing, 494 and 594. So next, to remove the canister, first take out the cardboard holding it in place. You can put that aside and then lift the canister straight up. Make sure you have a good grip on it because it's going to be heavy. It's packed full of media. So now with the canister out of the box, you're going to want to undo all 5 of the clips holding the motor head onto the canister body. Once you've done that, there's a tab you'll see on the front of the canister. You're going to lift up on that while holding the body in place, and you'll pop the top off the canister. Look down into the canister. What do you see? Your destiny? No, media. The first thing you're going to see is the lattice screen. Next, you're going to see the carbon pad, and underneath that, the white foam pad. And then you're going to see a bag of biomedia. This media is the Eheim Substrat Pro. And then underneath that, you'll see the blue coarse foam pad. Then underneath the blue coarse foam pad, there's going to be a couple of packages of Eheim mech. And then on the very bottom, there's a lattice screen. You can pull that out. And then finally, the cardboard protector. Just rip that thing out and throw it in the garbage. So now we're going to put everything back into the canister, starting with the lattice screen that goes on the bottom. Make sure it's pegs down. Once that's in, you can open up the packages of mech and dump them into the bottom of the canister. I usually give the canister a little bit of a shake to even things out. You're going to take your coarse foam pad and put that on top of the mech. So after the coarse blue pad, we're going to put in the Eheim Substrat Pro Biomedia. It's really great stuff, but you do want to pre-rinse it because it is a little bit dusty in the bag. And then after that, we're going to put in the white polishing pad, followed by the carbon pad, and then the last lattice screen, this time pegs up. Once you've done that, put the motor head back on the canister and clip it in place. It's also important to make sure that you screw in the intake tube at the bottom of the canister. Sometimes this J-tube gets knocked around during shipping or just isn't screwed in all the way at the manufacturing area. So you want to make sure you turn it until you have some resistance. That'll just prevent leaks. So next step, we're going to take this bag of parts here. We're going to open her up. We've got the outlet pipe that's going to connect to your spray bar. Next up, we've got the intake strainer to keep your fish from going into your filter, which is never good. And we've got a bunch of little knickknacks here. We don't need this bag anymore. So we've got the clips to go with your suction cups to hold everything onto the side of the tank, and the cap for the end of the spray bar, which is really important. So to put that on, you're going to take your spray bar, and on the flat end, you're going to just push this right in. You'll notice on the opposite end that there's ridges. These ridges are for the tubing to go onto, so make sure you don't put the cap on that end, and you're good to go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to cut the tubing that's going to attach your double tap connectors to the canister, and then the spray bar to the J-tube that hangs on the side of the tank. So you've got 2 types of tubing, 594 and 494. That's just Eheim size code for 5/8 inch tubing, 594, and then the 1/2 inch tubing, 494. So 594 tubing, we need a 4-inch piece cut. Then with the 494 tubing, we're actually going to cut a small 2-inch piece and a 4-inch piece. So next, we're going to bring back our spray bar assembly and double tap connectors and get rid of that tubing because we don't need it right now. Take the spray bar and attach it to the J-tube using that small 2-inch piece of 494 tubing. If you're finding you're having a hard time getting the tubing onto the pipe, feel free to soak the tubing in hot water first. That'll actually make it a little bit more malleable and it'll slide on easier. Ta-da! we're gonna attach the double tap connectors with the valves pointing upwards to the canister. Use the 4-inch pieces of tubing to do that. Once you get the tubing onto the connectors, you're gonna wanna reverse thread the lock nuts. What that's gonna do is it's gonna bite down on the tubing and make sure they don't accidentally pop off when you're moving around the canister. Now that we've got the double tap connectors hooked up to the canister, I like to move everything to the front of the aquarium. So from this position, we can actually judge effectively how long the tubing needs to be from the top of each double tap connector to the top of the aquarium. So for now, we're gonna put the intake and output on the front of the aquarium so that we can get a good measure of roughly where the tubing needs to be. You don't want it to be super taut. You want it to be relatively slack. Now I'm gonna take the intake side and hold it up to the intake pipe at the rim of the tank. I'm gonna cut the tubing so that I have roughly 2 inches of slack, and then I'm gonna place it onto the back of the pipe. I'm then gonna do the exact same thing with the output side. Reverse lock nuts, thread them. All right, we're almost done. So the canister is relatively set up, but we need to get it in place. So we're gonna undo the double tap connectors that are holding the tubing to the canister, and then we're going to slide them down the back of the aquarium where they belong so that they're poking out underneath in the stand. Next, you're gonna take the canister, put it in the stand, and then do up those double tap connectors. And we're pretty well there. So to get the suction cups ready for use, you're just gonna take those little clips that you found in the accessories package and stick them into the top of the suction cups. You'll notice there are 2 different sizes, a smaller size for the spray bar, so attach them there, and then an even larger size for the intake pipe. You can put those on there. Once you've done that, you can push those suction cups against the glass inside the aquarium to secure those pipes in place. And next up, my favorite part, priming. So the Classic series doesn't have any priming features. So what that means is you're gonna manually prime. What you can do is take the hose off the bottom of the outlet, so the spray bar side, and you're gonna apply suction. Just like that, and quickly reattach it. Before you apply suction, make sure you open up all the valves on the double tap connectors. If any of them are closed, you can apply all the suction you want and no water's gonna go anywhere. You're just gonna be there with a blue face doing nothing. You're gonna see some bubbles rushing out of the spray bar. That's the canister purging out the air and filling with water. Once that's stopped, the canister's ready to be plugged in. After you plug in the canister, it's totally normal to hear a little bit of air rushing out. You may even hear the impeller grinding up a little bit of air. That's just the last few little patches of it in the canister left. Once it's ejected, you'll have a little bit of a low hum coming from the canister, but above tank, it'll be nice and quiet. And when you plug in your filters, for safety's sake, use a drip loop. What a drip loop does is it prevents water from ever running down the cord if it leaks and going into your socket, frying everything. And there you have it. That's how you set up the Eheim 2217 Classic Series canister. It's one of my all-time faves. If you want to see other videos that we've done, feel free to subscribe because we're going to keep doing them. We're going to drop one every week. If you ever want to give us an idea of what kind of video we should shoot, or maybe you just have a general question, comment, you want to let us know what you've been up to, you can contact us on Twitter or Facebook or comment down below. And as always, just keep on tanking. All right, so what I'm actually going to show you to do today, the 2217 Classic Series from Eheim.
Sorry.